Hello, welcome to an Eyewitness News special. My name is Tshidi Madia, Associate Editor for Politics. We're coming to you from Nazareth. You can see the background, the big ANC flag in the background. This is the ANC's 55th National Conference. It's here where they will elect new leadership, but also look at its policies and adopt those and come out with resolutions that will ultimately guide the government that's currently in charge and how it serves the nation. And of course, there are questions about the state of the organization. Can the ANC even renew itself? That's part and parcel of what our coverage will be. We'll be with you throughout this entire weekend. This period, this process, this conference kicks off today and will come to a close on the 20th of December. From my suspicions, because there are no delegates around, it might linger well past the 20th, likely to be into the 21st of December, but we'll be here with you throughout. We'll be giving you these updates, speaking to analysts, politicians, and trying to help you make sense of what is unfolding with the country's governing party, and ultimately it'll help you inform your decisions come 2024 and beyond. Speaking to me at the moment is Malaika Mahlatsi, a researcher and analyst. She's working with us throughout this weekend as well, so she'll be with us throughout this period sharing her thoughts. Malaika, I am bothered that there are no people. I've been here before. I know that it is very typical of an ANC conference to start so late. We're yet to see delegates. What do you make of just the silence? It's really just the journalists who are here.
So, Tshidi, what is happening actually is that delegates are here, as in they have come from their provinces. They've been registering over the last 2 days. Yes. So the different provinces have already converged in Gauteng, and many of them have registered already, but some also registered in the morning. The delay is in fact that delegates are still in caucuses even now. So there's caucuses happening all over the province, in different venues, different groupings within the ANC are having caucuses, and this obviously is the result of the serious divisions that happened at various provincial conferences, but also at provincial general councils, many of which concluded just 2 days ago and some even as recently as yesterday. So there has been there's no province that's coming united. There are differences in terms of what slates every province supports. There's differences in terms of views about additionals, views about the top six and so on. So people are actually here in Gauteng, but they are not here at the venue because conference cannot start until these discussions have been had, because these discussions influence a lot of things that happen in the process of conference. I mean, one of the things that it will influence, for example, will be issues around the adoption of credentials. That we know is one of the most contested things in ANC conferences, whether it's at national, provincial or regional conferences. Oh, absolutely.
Like, I want you to be able to explain credentials to people. Credentials is really the adoption of a register that everybody in the room has the right to be in the room, is in good standing and can participate. But credentials can collapse a conference. Credentials, I was in a Tekwini earlier this year. It lasted well into the early mornings of the following day. Explain how contentious the credentials are, but also how they possibly influence the outcome at the end of a conference.
Credentials are absolutely the most important thing in a conference, and in fact what the ANC did in its previous conference is that they centralized the accreditation or the verification of branches. So what happens is that branches in the ANC go through conferences, BGMs, right? They'll go through BGMs, the branch general meetings. So they'll go through branch general meetings and so on. And in those branch general meetings, and so they'll elect, for example, your branch executive committees and so on, who will then, later, after that, you'll have your regional conferences. For example, different regions. In Gauteng, we've got about 5 regions. Ethekwini will have Ekurhuleni will have their region and all of that. There'll be conferences for that. Then there'll be provincial conference, and then there'll be national conference. Now, the importance and why we start at the branch is that branch delegates are often the ones who then get to become delegates in all other conferences. So a delegate from a branch will become a delegate in the region, likely become a delegate in a provincial conference, and then at the national conference. Now, the importance with delegates and with the credentials is twofold. On the one hand, it obviously gives legitimacy about people who are here. So a person who is at the conference should be a person who's in good standing, should be, a person who has got the right to vote. And that right is obviously outlined in the constitution of the ANC, who can be a branch member of the ANC, who gets to be elected as a branch executive committee member of the ANC, and so on. But perhaps more importantly, you get to look at the balance of power and the balance of numbers in terms of the delegates. So every branch, remember, and depending on size, of course, some branches will have more and others not, or some regions or provinces will have more and others not, since we're at a national conference. You need to know which branch or which provinces, which delegates provinces are bringing, because that decides for you what the line of march is,
Yes,
right?
because that's where the mandate lies.
Yes, what the mandate lies. Yeah,
Malaika, there's actually something very interesting when you speak about the branches and how the branch delegates will differ because branches are not the same size.
Yes,
In fact,
yes.
in 2017, calculations that Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma would take it was based on branch nominations and provincial general councils,
Yes.
where they consolidate numbers. It wasn't based on the number of delegates from the different
Yes.
branches.
Yes.
People often forget that that also
Yes.
has a play. But let's speak about the expectations quickly. I keep saying I can't call this conference. It's been a tricky,
Yeah.
murky, ugly
Yeah.
road,
Yeah.
and everybody sees themselves as fit to lead.
Yeah.
What says you?
Let me tell you, Tshidi, 2 days ago, if you had asked me that question 2 days ago, I might have tried to call the conference. But 2 days ago, the Gauteng province concluded its provincial general council. Now, you will remember that in September, the PEC of the province, as led by TK Mwiza and Panyaza Lisufi,
Yes.
pronounced on the preference of the PEC, right, and the preference of the province in that regard, because the PEC represents the province, pronounced on the preference. And the preference that they pronounced on was Cyril Ramaphosa for president, Stan Mathabata for national chairperson, Paul Mashatile for deputy president,
Mtuli for secretary.
Mtulu for secretary, and then it was Nomvula Mkonyane for DSG. There was no pronouncement on the treasurer general.
It was Pule Mabe.
No, it was
the
not.
PEC.
The PEC, they did not pronounce
not
on
the branch outcomes.
Yes, so
Pule
yes,
Mabe
so the
minutes.
PEC did
Okay,
not
fair
pronounce
enough.
on the teaching. But the previous, and then 2 days ago, there was a provincial general council that comes of the same Gauteng province, and the provincial general council, you then start to see divisions. Delegates say, we actually are not going to pronounce on Ramaphosa. We don't want Ramaphosa here. And there's a huge division right down the middle between people who want Zweli Mkhize and those who want Cyril Ramaphosa. The PGC then comes with an outcome. Panyaza Lisufi, the same person who in September pronounced on Ramaphosa, comes with an outcome that says, we will support, as the province, we will support, our branches will support absolutely Paul Mashatile for deputy president and certainly Nomvula Mokonyane for DSG. However, all other positions are open and branches can decide. Now that's a huge turnabout from
Gauteng.
From Gauteng.
But it's not surprising. You and I would
No,
know
of course it's not.
from internal dynamics that actually that was always coming.
Of course.
But so that makes it difficult for you to call
Yeah,
it,
it makes
right?
it very
Fair
difficult
enough.
to call. Yes.
I accept it. I accept that.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting aspects of this conference for me is the generational battle. Succession is a thing analysts feel the ANC has not paid enough attention to.
Yeah.
Hence these bitter battles within
Yeah.
the organization.
Yeah.
There is a conversation to be had about succession with the different generations that also want to get their hands on the levers of power. In some instances, you've got people who represent the UDF era,
Yeah.
mass mobilization era, that's the Paul Machatiles.
Yes.
But you also have the youth leaders who are
Yes.
knocking at the door saying,
Yes.
actually, your time is up.
Yeah.
By the time we get anywhere near leadership, the ANC will definitely be out of power. Never mind that. The youth will be over anything to do with political leadership. There is a change in the landscape as it is. What are your assessments and your observations in that space about the battles? And mind you, the exiles and inzals in 2022 are also still fighting for space.
So the ANC has always, as you correctly say, Tshidi, they've always had a problem with succession. It's a historical thing. The ANC has always had a problem with succession. And at the heart of this is exactly the argument that you make, right? That everybody feels that it's their turn. So every generation in the ANC feels that they are the rightful people who must emerge at the next conference. And in fact, that's often how conferences are decided, right? So you'll get compromises that get made to say, okay, fine, we will not support you now, Fikile Mbalula. In the previous conference, we will not support you now for SG. You are still young. Contest next time, your turn will come, and so on. That's always been one of the things that happens a lot in the ANC conferences. People tend to only see the contest and the negotiations around names for positions, but they don't see the generation.
And that's part of the travesty why the party's where it is today. That is an issue that I think we're going to revisit as we continue with our coverage, watching what the ANC does with this conference. It is day one. There are no delegates. I'm sure I'll be speaking to you a little bit later. A political overview from Ramaphosa is still to be delivered. There'll be an organizational report. Nominations will happen and voting will take place tomorrow. But we will be here with you throughout the day. Thank you.